G'day guys, PeetyG's was checking here for PGTV. It's been a while, it's been a minute, but I'm back. And I've got a brand new VOD series coming to you every week called PeetyG's Top 5 in 5, where I attempted the impossible to get my point across in 5 minutes or less in a top 5 format. So each week there'll be different topics. It'll all be around OCE CSGO, top 5 players, top 5 teams, etc, etc. And the first week we have the top 5 teams from 5 to 1 in OCE. Let's go. Number 5, Atletico. I don't think this really needs any justification. They've beaten Chiefs out in an online tournament and taken Kings to OT. The results are there. I don't think it can be disputed. They're in 5th, but having said that, they do need to prove it on LAN. I'm OG, I am old school. I am all about that LAN life. There will be never a team in the top 4 for me that hasn't done anything on LAN. So for that reason, Atletico, take your seat, sit in 5th, do some things on LAN, and we can reassess later. Number 4, Greyhound Gaming. Shocking loss of Destiny in that roster has caused them to fall in my rankings in the last month. Can they get back to the standard they were previously to Destiny? Not sure. I have every faith in Urcast and Dexter to get the job done. However, I think that the detrimental impact of Destiny will far exceed his fragging power that Dexter can amply replace. I think Dexter's a great player, but at the same time, I don't think he has a level of impact in terms of micromanagement over players like Prackham. So players like Prackham, in my opinion, were overperforming when paired up with players like Destiny. And at the same time, I think that they've slipped to 4th, but they can increase if they get back to the level. So they were previously. So that takes us to the number 3 team at the moment, which is TaintedMinds. Their performances over a long period as players cannot be questioned. They have excellent CSGO leadership in form of the coach Ferg, very accomplished himself. That roster consists now of Infrequent and Chutch, the original members that came across from Atletico. They have been supplemented with 3 Winter Fox players now, Ofnu, zewzy, and APOC, who are huge stars in their own right. Can they make this new mix work? I think so, but they're certainly not in the top 2 right now. Can they get back there? As I said, I think zewzy will come back into his zone once he gets comfortable in the Australian format once again and he gets some form under his belt. A few big competitions and that guy will be right there. When that happens, yes, I think that they will be hyper competitive, pushing for that number 1 spot, but it will take zewzy some time to get his CSGO legs back underneath him from a competitive capacity. So at the moment, they're going to be jammed at 3. Number 2, and there's a lot of conjecture over this, so bear with me, people. Number 2 is going to be Kings, and for the same reason that I said that Atletico has to sit at 5 for the moment until they do some stuff on LAN. Kings, unfortunately, I think you're right there. I think that you're in great form. I think that you're doing everything right, but at the same time, let's go to LAN and convert. It's the same for everybody. You have to pay your dues and actually show people that you can close out big games on LAN. Am I questioning their ability to do so in any way, shape, or form? Absolutely not. Hats is good on LAN. I know Liaz is good on LAN. I know Wiz is an absolute machine, one of the most underrated players going around in the region, mind you. His total overall in-game impact far exceeds people's expectations of him, so he largely flies under the radar in terms of matchups against opponents. And of course, Emag and Sicko can also wheel and deal, particularly Emag. I have been critical of Sicko in the past, of course, but I think he's excelling in this particular system because previously he had a lot of pressure on himself to perform in big moments and he just couldn't cut the cheese. However, stacked with this roster, I don't think he has to. I think he's in perfect position, just play his natural game, which is more of a passive style, and he really benefits from the aggression of others in his team, such as Hats and Liaz, and particularly on T side like Wizard. They open up a lot of gaps for him, get him in good positions, and get him smart picks. So I think Sicko's doing a great job for that roster at the moment. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, the number 1 team at the moment in Australia, in OCE, is Chiefs. The Chieftains, of course, are number 1. Reason being, I have to keep harking on about this. I am old school, baby. I'm all about that LAN. You got to go there and you got to perform. And out of all the teams currently together, I mean, the Atletico roster, as I said, hasn't really done anything on LAN. The new Greyhound roster hasn't competed together on LAN. The new Tainted roster hasn't competed together on LAN. The new Kings Gaming roster hasn't competed together on LAN. And of course, well, I think that they have, but I don't think it was in the magnitude of this, whereas I think that Chiefs Like, I don't question King's ability to play on LAN, so I'm not taking that as heavily as I would against the other teams that need time at LAN as a roster. I think that Kings has already established themselves individually as players that can go to LAN and play, but as a unit, Chiefs are still the #1 team in Australia until defeated. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the buzzer. I am out of time. That is my top 5 in 5. Chiefs, you are the #1 team until you lose that title. Having said that, guys, stay tuned because the ESL studios are hosting the zewzy Extremes LAN qualifier, and 4 of the top 5 teams that I mentioned today will be playing at that one. So will that change the landscape of things? Of course it will. And also there's the impending doom of Yaman eventually coming back out of retirement and joining potentially one of these 5 teams and throwing another spanner in the OCE works. But until next week, where I'll be going through my top 5 players in the OCE region at the moment, I have been PeetyG's. This has been PeetyG's top 5 in 5. Stick around for every episode. I know that you'll enjoy the goss, and I've enjoyed bringing you something that's not 35 minutes long just for a change.